In the world of finance, accuracy is key, and one of the most crucial tools for ensuring that accuracy is the bank reconciliation statement. Corporates prioritize bank reconciliation because it helps them identify discrepancies, prevent fraud, and maintain a healthy cash flow. It's a vital process that ensures their financial records match the bank's record, giving them a clear picture of their financial health. In this video, we will dive into the nitty-gritty of bank reconciliation statements, making it easy for you to understand and implement in your own financial management. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more finance insights. Let's understand what is the meaning of bank reconciliation statement. So bank reconciliation statement or BRS is prepared to show the items of difference between bank balances as shown by the bank passbook or statement and the bank ledger maintained by the firm. That means the accountant is recording the bank transactions every day in the accounting system. At the same time, all debit and credit made by the bank is recorded in the bank passbook or in bank statement. Now, it is the responsibility of the accountant to reconcile and see that whatever bank balances the bank is reflecting in the statement, the same matches with the record of the company. It is prepared on a particular day and both bank statement balance and bank ledger balance should be considered for that day. That means if you are doing a reconciliation on 31st of March, then the ledger balance in the accounting system on 31st March has to be matched with the bank statement as on 31st March. You can't have two different dates. It has to be on the particular date so that you can reconcile the transactions. The main objective of preparing this statement is to find out the cause of differences between two balances and pass necessary accounting entries in the books of business. Let's take an example. ABC Limited prepared the financial statement as on 31st March and the bank balance reported is rupees 1,10,000. This is as per the bank ledger balance available in the accounting system. That means in ABC books of accounts, the bank balance reported in the ledger is 1,10,000. The director of ABC Limited received the bank statement from the bank and the bank balance reported by the bank is rupees 2 lakhs. That means the statement says that the company has a balance of 2 lakhs whereas the ERP balances shows it's 1,10,000. The director is confused whether the bank balance reported in the financial statement is correct or not. The director asks the finance team to find out the reason for having different balances. The finance team prepares the reconciliation between the bank statement balance and the bank ledger balance. This reconciliation is called as bank reconciliation statement. So during reconciliation, if any mistake is identified, then necessary entries has to be posted by the finance team. So this reconciliation will help or make the accountant understand that if he has missed out some entries or he has done some duplicate entries. So I'll be talking about more about why there is a difference between two balances. But this is a tool which is going to help the accountant to understand what mistakes or what items has been omitted in recording in the ERP. Reasons for difference in the balances of bank passbooks and bank ledger. So I'm going to explain what are the potential reasons or events which causes the difference between the bank balance and the ledger balance. The first one is check issued but not presented for payment. That means the company has issued the check to the vendor. However, the vendor has not encashed it. That means the bank has not made payment to the vendor. So what is happening when the company is issuing the check, it is recorded immediately in the books of accounts. But bank will update that payment only when the bank is making payment to the vendor. So there is a timing difference, right? So in between of this timing difference is if the company is preparing the bank reconciliation statement, then what will happen? Obviously, the bank statement balance will be higher because the payment is not yet released to the vendor. So while doing the BRS, the accountant has to adjust this check issued not presented amount so that the ledger shows the right balances matching with the bank statement. So let's see in details. When a check is issued by the firm in favor of its creditors, it is immediately recorded in the bank ledger by crediting bank account. As a result, the balance of the bank ledger decreases by that amount, but the bank records this transaction only when the check is presented for payment by creditors and the bank actually makes the payment. Now let's take an example to understand in a better way. ABC Limited issues a check in favor of XYZ Limited on 28 December 2025 for a sum of rupees 10,000. The check is presented by XYZ Limited on 3rd January 2026 for payment. In case the bank submits statement of accounts to ABC Limited up to 31st December 2025, there will be a difference of rupees 10,000 between the balances as shown by ABC Limited and the balances as per the bank statement. And the reason is very clear. XYZ has not encashed the check, hence the bank balance will be higher by 10,000 rupees. Next point, check sent for collection but not yet collected. A firm receives from time to time checks from its customers and send them to its bankers for collection and crediting the proceeds to its accounts. The firm debits the bank account ledger as soon as it sends the checks to the bank for collection. The bank gives credit to the firm only when checks are collected. So this is a reverse situation. When the company receives the payment through check from the customer, it records in the books of accounts stating that bank balance increased because you received the money. However, if you have presented the check in the bank and not yet encashed, or you are still holding the check and not presented to the bank, then in that case, the statement will not be showing the same amount because the check is not encashed. In that case, you will have a difference between the bank balance statement and the ledger balance. Third point, check sent for collection but dishonored by bank. So dishonored means bank is not encashing the check. It could be because of lack of fund or it could be signature mismatch of the customer. So in that case, definitely the books of accounts and the bank statement balance will not match. So this is similar to point number 2. The check is sent for collection to the bank, but the bank is unable to collect the payment of the check because of it being dishonored. The amount will not be credited by the bank. As the firm has accounted the check sent for collection, there will be difference in balances between bank ledger and the passbook. Now let's understand what is the meaning of check dishonored. A check is said to be dishonored when the bank refuses to pay the amount mentioned in the check. This can happen for several reasons like insufficient fund, signature mismatch, check date, stop payment instruction by the customer, or accounts closed. Point number 4. Bank charges and commission charged by bank. So bank provides a number of services to its customers. It collects their outstanding checks, dividends on their shares, etc. Bank charges commission in lieu of service provided to the customer. Such charges and commission is debited in the bank passbook, but no entry is recorded in the bank ledger unless the firm obtains the passbook from the bank and record these entries. This will cause a difference between two balances. So sometimes the bank charges are auto debited without giving any information to the company. And when the company does the reconciliation, we'll find out that there are few line items which are auto debited by the bank towards the bank charges. Then after identifying through bank reconciliation, the company will be posting these entries in the books of accounts. Next point, point number 5, interest and dividend collected by the bank. If the bank collects dividend on shares, interest on investments, etc. on behalf of its customer, it credits the amount in the bank passbook. This will increase the balance in the passbook and a difference in the two balances will exist unless a corresponding entry is recorded in the bank ledger by the firm. So this is the reverse case of bank charges. Here, the bank is collecting money on behalf of you and you may not have the information about it. In that case, if you have not recorded those incoming cash flows, then you need to record it after doing the reconciliation. Next point, direct payments auto debit through bank. An account holder can instruct the bank to make certain payments such as insurance premium, electricity, loan installments, interest on loan, etc. on its behalf. The bank will debit the party's account on making the payment, but the firm will be able to record this transaction in the bank ledger only on receipt of the intimation from the bank. So for all auto debits, you have to ensure that you're recording in your books of accounts. Otherwise, while reconciliation, you will find that and then you need to record it. Next point, direct payment into bank by a customer. If any customer of the firm directly deposits the amount of payment into bank account of the firm, then credit entry in the passbook will be recorded by the bank. Unless the corresponding entry is recorded in the bank ledger by the firm, the balance of cash book and passbook will differ. As you know, nowadays online payments are very popular. Very few companies issue checks. So when it is online payment, the customer will directly transfer the money to your bank account. And if you have not recorded, then that same will be part of your bank reconciliation. And you need to identify the customer, the transaction for which the payment has been received, and then you need to record it in the books of accounts. And the last one is errors. There may be errors in accounts maintained by the firm as well as bank. A wrong debit or credit may be given by the firm or bank. The two balances therefore may not tally. So we have understood now what are the reasons because of which there is a difference between the bank balance and the ledger balance. Now coming to the next step, how to prepare bank reconciliation statement. So below format can be used for preparation of bank reconciliation statement. So if you see the format here, it starts with balance as per bank ledger, and then we have few items which will be added to that and few items which will be reduced from that. So let's understand line by line item, and then I will explain why it is added and why it is deducted. The first one is checks issued but not presented for payment by creditor. So what is happening when you're issuing a check, you are reducing the balances in the bank ledger. Now, as the bank has not encashed, your bank statement will show a higher amount. So what you need to do, you need to add this amount back so that your ledger balance and the bank statement will tally. So this item will be added back. Interest credited by bank not accounted. That means bank has collected this interest. Okay. So what would have happened? The bank balance would have gone up. Now because you have not recorded in your bank ledger in books, so your balance is not matching with the bank statement. So you have to increase your balance, right? So it is added, interest credited. Similarly, dividend collected by bank. Like interest collected, here dividend collected, not accounted. So you have to account it. Direct payment by customer, not accounted. So the customer has made direct payment, your bank balance has gone up, but your ledger balance is not gone up because you have not recorded that. So you have to record it. So you have to add it here. Check sent for collection to bank but not at accounted. Okay. Check sent for collection to bank but not accounted. This also has to be added here. Now, what has to be deducted? Check sent to bank for collection but not collected. Okay. Check sent to bank for collection but dishonored. Bank charges and commission charged by bank not accounted. Check issued to creditor not accounted. So in this case, all has to be deducted and then balance as per passbook will tally with balance as per the bank statement. Now let's take a practical example to understand how to prepare the bank reconciliation statement. Below is the bank ledger statement and passbook for the month of February 2025. Prepare the bank reconciliation statement as on 28 February 2025. So this is the bank ledger, that is the books of accounts. You can see there is an opening balance that is nil. Then on 4th February, direct fund transfer from XYZ customer 10 lakhs. 11th February, check issued to ABC creditor 3 lakhs. 14th February, rent paid 40,000. 16th February, check collected from PQR customer 2 lakhs. 28th February, salary paid 2 lakh. So total debit is 12 lakhs, total credit is 5 lakh 40, and the bank ledger shows a balance of 6 lakh 60 as on 28th of February. Now let's see what the bank statement talks about. So bank statement opening balance is nil, which is matching with the bank ledger. 4th February, direct fund transfer from XYZ customer 10 lakhs. 14th February, rent paid 40,000. 25th February, direct fund transfer from EPG customer 1 lakh 50,000. 27th February, bank charges 10,000. 28th February, salary paid 2 lakhs. Bank shows a debit of 2.5 and a credit of 11.5. So bank passbook shows a balance of 9 lakhs. Now let's prepare the BRS for this. So balance as per the bank ledger is 6 lakh 60,000. right? So your books of accounts shows 6,60,000. And now we need to match it with the balance that is 9 lakhs reported by your bank. Now what I need to add here? The first I need to add is checks issued but not presented for payment by creditor. That is 3 lakhs. So on 11th of February, you have made a payment to ABC, who is your creditor. But if you see the bank statement, ABC has not encashed that money. That means bank has not paid that money to ABC. So you have to add it back because this is excess reduction in your ledger balance. So 3 lakh you're adding. Second, direct fund transfer by EFG, not accounted. So EFG is a customer who has transferred 1,50,000 directly to your bank account, but you have not recorded. So you have to record it now. So these two items will be added back. So it will be 4,50,000. Now, what I need to deduct? First one is check sent to the bank for collection but not collected. That is 2 lakhs. That means on 16th of February, the company has received the check from PQR of 2 lakh and the bank ledger is debited by 2 lakh, increasing the bank balance. But at the same time, there is no record in the bank passbook. That means the checks are not deposited in the bank nor collected from the customer. So it has to be reduced so that the balance matches with the passbook. And the second point is bank charges and commission charged by the bank not accounted. So if you see the bank statement on 27th of February, there is a bank charge of 10,000 rupees, but the same is not recorded in the books of accounts. Hence, we need to record it. So the total deduction is 2,10,000 and the balance as per passbook is now 9 lakh, which is 6.6 lakhs plus 4.5 lakhs minus 2.1 lakhs. Now, what is the accounting entry we need to post after we prepare this reconciliation? The first entry is bank account debited 1,50,000 to EFG account 1,50,000. And the second one is bank charges rupees 10,000 to bank 10,000. And we need not post entries for other cases because those are known reasons and we need not do any adjustment. Coming to the last part, importance of bank reconciliation statement, why it should be prepared, how important it is. The first point is ensures data accuracy. So it detects errors like omitted entries, calculation mistakes, or timing differences between cash book and bank records, maintaining reliable financial records. Second point, fraud detection. Regular reconciliation spots unauthorized transactions, duplicate payments, or fraudulent activities early, protecting assets and preventing losses. Cash flow statement or cash flow management. It provides a clear view of actual cash availability, helping business monitor inflow outflows, avoid overdrafts, and plan effectively. And the last is audit compliance. A reconciled BRS serves as evidence for auditors, ensuring compliance with regulation and smooth financial reporting process. So considering my corporate experience of 17-18 years, I would say that BRS is a monthly or you can say weekly process maintained by all big companies. Even small companies do, but my experience with all MNCs is that they do every week and every monthly. The practical challenge is that while doing reconciliation, there could be some items for which you may not have in-depth knowledge while preparing the BRS. So it is always good that we do this BRS frequently and connect with the right stakeholders like your procurement team or your marketing team, because sometimes it may happen that you have collection from the customer but you don't know who is the customer, right? Because unless you know the customer, you will not know which invoice to be knocked off. So there are a lot of in detail process to be followed once the issue is identified. So my suggestion that you should do it very uh, in a quick interval time of time instead of doing it once in a month. Second, actions to be taken. I have seen in few companies where we have reconciliation item and it goes on growing every month. The numbers go up and nobody takes action to clear those differences. So it is always good that the person who prepared the BRS ensures that the line items are cleared. And if there is unclear item, then acts in shorter period, maybe in 1-2 months to find the reason behind it and clear it up. So that's it from my side. If you like this video, please like the video and share with your friends. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, request you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.